Thank you again, ICAN, for the opportunity to spend hopefully just 7 minutes with all of you this afternoon, talking about an issue that is becoming more and more relevant in our lives if you simply turn on the television, you read the newspaper, or you listen to the radio. And that is building consensus in challenging times. And I'm going to speak from a public sector perspective, serving as a state senator for 8 years. But first, just to kind of give you the outline, so to speak, of what I want to try to go through. One, what is consensus building? Why is it important? How do we do it in the only nonpartisan unicameral in the country? And what can you take from this moving forward as you engage your business, your community, and your city? Consensus building in the most academic of sense is a conflict resolution process trying to solve a problem. Why it's important, at least in my perspective, is because decisions that are usually made depending upon a position in an organization, a leadership title that someone may hold, sometimes rarely provides ownership to those who actually have to implement the decision. And consensus building in its purest of sense provides a way to build more ownership over the final decision that is made. And why it's important from a legislative perspective and how we utilize it down in the unicameral is a little storytelling time. 4 years ago, in 2013, I was blessed enough to be elected by my colleagues as the second youngest chairman of the Appropriations Committee at the age of 33, the first Omaha state senator to serve in that position in almost 64 years. Obviously, serving in that role, and I should preface with committee members who were twice my age, could be my grandfather, puts you in a position, to some extent, of how do you convince other people with diverse ideologies, diverse opinions, representing areas from Scottsbluff to Omaha to Lincoln, to get everyone around what the final goal is or what we want to achieve or succeed. And that process, if anything, really summed up, if I can, what our unicameral legislature has become more like, which is understanding that when you're in a position, in leadership or not, that being part of that decision-making process requires you to be able to put yourself out there in the sense that you may not get everything you want through that process, that you have to be willing as a leader to put yourself in a position to understand that you're going to have to possibly give something up for the greater good, to find a way to build consensus knowing what your final goal is and what the outcome you want to achieve. Now, I could probably go through a litany of things that I wish we would have funded at the state budget that first year as chair, but the reality is this: I knew the role I had to play was to find the other 8 members who were extremely diverse in opinions, backgrounds, and regional aspects, to get all 9 of us to agree to take a similar vote on a document that all of us may not have loved, but that we all built together and we all tried to get to a point of consensus. That speaks to some extent what we've seen, I think, at least as you heard Adam explain, a very unique legislative body, but you translate that, I think, to any kind of public entity, whether you're in a neighborhood association trying to deal with a park improvement and wanting to build consensus with your neighbors, with the city council, and with the city government in general. That process serves everyone at any level of government, and it serves, frankly, anyone at any public entity. Now, I want to kind of tie that all in regards to why is this relevant in your life, particularly if you're in the private sector or you are a business leader or a CEO. The reason that it's probably become more important is simply the environment and the culture that we're now trying to live in and that we're now trying to survive in. And unfortunately, from a public sector perspective, that culture is more about winning, it's more about victory at all costs, and it's less about trying to achieve something that everyone has some form of ownership in. And at least from a policy-making perspective, the best decisions that at least I've been able to be part of usually had me not really loving the final decision, only because I realized that I had to own the decision because I was part of making that decision, realizing that I was going to have to help implement that, carry it through, defend it, the same way that the other person or the other group of individuals have to do in other aspects of the decision that they weren't proud of or that they did not like. How it's more really relevant to you is we now have an obligation, I feel, in a time where civic engagement, unfortunately, is not increasing due to a coarse dialogue, a coarse way of we communicate with each other. Unfortunately, I think to some extent, the general interactions and relationships that we're not building based on our desires to be right and our desires to tell the other person or other entity or organization that they're wrong. Taking a consensus-building approach as a leader allows you to, one, not give up your principles, not give up your values, and still try to achieve what you want to achieve if you're simply willing, and you heard the other speakers talk about this, if you're simply willing to put some risk on the table. Understanding that there will be a point that you will have to make a decision and that either you want to be part of guiding that decision forward, otherwise you would be labeled as someone who is trying to submarine or undermine that decision and arguably create more conflict at the end of the day and not be able to contribute to the success of what you initially set out to do. In public life, it's something that we wrestle with on a regular basis, in part because of partisanship, in part because of ideology, but in part because of passion, that people do something because they believe in it and they want to see something occur. Anything that I've ever been involved in, at least in our unicameral legislature, it's never been a decision of not being passionate or sacrificing principles or values. It's more a matter of dedicating yourself to the greater good, which is coming to an outcome that you can live with, that you can defend, and that you can take ownership on when that final decision is made, whether by the legislature or by the people of Nebraska. So thank you so much.